The shooting guard position in basketball has a lot of the greatest NBA players of all time, and it has an argument for being the most talented position in NBA history. But which of these players rank at the top? That is a question that I'm going to be answering in this video, because today I will be ranking the top 10 greatest shooting guards in NBA history. I will say this list had a lot of talented names that just didn't get a chance to make the list, but there's only 10 slots, so you gotta do what you gotta do. But with that being said, let's get into the list. At number 10, I've got Vince Carter, the greatest dunker of all time, and currently the man that holds the record for the most seasons played in NBA history with 22. Vince was an amazing two-guard for the Toronto Raptors and the New Jersey Nets in his prime years, but because of his lack of accolades and achievements throughout his career, most people probably wouldn't have VC top 10. Which I see the reasons why. He never won a championship and never won any major awards or anything, but Vince Carter made this list for me based off of his talent and his prime years alone. At number 9 is Clyde Drexler, another great dunker that competed against Michael Jordan for a lot of his prime years. Clyde was a Portland Trailblazer legend, but he wouldn't win a championship in his career until he joined the Houston Rockets. And while Hakeem Olajuwon will get the credit for these championships, deservingly, but Clyde was still in his prime and still playing at a very high level while winning this championship. He was a multiple-time All-Star and had a very long stretch of being one of the best players in the NBA in a very talented era. And even though he never won a championship as the leader of a team, he did lead the Trailblazers to the finals in 1992 against the Bulls. But just like most other legends from the 90s, he was one Michael Jordan away from being a much higher ranked all-time legend. Number 8 is Ray Allen. Before Steph Curry came along, Ray Allen was the greatest three-point shooter of all time. He had every stat and accolade to prove it, and some people will still argue that he's the greatest three-point shooter ever. Those people are just wrong, but they'll still argue it. Ray Allen wasn't just an amazing three-point shooter though, he also had the hardware to prove his greatness. He was a part of the 2008 Boston Celtics super team that won the championship, and he won with the Miami Heat in 2013. And while Ray Allen wasn't the best player on any of these teams, he did completely save the Heat in 2013 when he hit what is looked at as the most clutch shot in NBA history. If Ray Allen misses this shot, the Miami Heat do not win this game or this championship, and history looks a lot different for everybody. Ray Allen was never scared of the big moment, and his shooting ability and his achievements throughout his career ranks him this high. At number 7, I've got Klay Thompson. One half of the Splash Brothers and an essential piece to one of the most dominant dynasties we've ever seen in the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson's three-point shooting is nearly unmatched, and the fact that he's neck and neck with Steph Curry in some three-point shooting records just goes to show how great of a shooter he is. But besides his shooting ability, Klay Thompson is a great all-around player. He's always been a good defender, and after 4 championships and even more finals appearances, Klay knows what it's like to win when it matters. If Klay Thompson never had Steph Curry by his side, I genuinely still believe in his prime he could have been able to lead a team and possibly even make an impressive playoff run. The records he's broken and his championship success is something a lot of other players on this list just don't have, and for that he's number 7. Number 6 is James Harden. Now I know a lot of you may feel like this is a little low for James Harden, but based on everything we've seen from his career so far, I really do not think Harden will go down as a top 5 shooting guard. James Harden in his prime was something special. He was averaging basically 40 points throughout the year and literally found a way to bend the rules of the game and become unstoppable offensively. He won the MVP in 2018, but he's still not been able to win a championship in his career. And in some of the situations, it genuinely wasn't his fault, but other times, I will put the blame on Harden. And after the past few years, with him constantly requesting trades and basically ruining teams, no matter what, that is tarnishing his career. If he's able to turn everything around and start being anywhere close to his prime self again, we could be talking about a whole different legacy and a career that maybe does deserve to be higher, but as of right now, he's number 6. At number 5 is Allen Iverson. One of the most influential NBA players ever, and a player people just love to root for and be a fan of. And it's easy to see why. He was pretty short for an NBA player, but nobody could stop him or his crossover that he perfected. And he was raising up and dunking on people, which is cool, but a lot of people discredit Iverson for his shortcomings in his career. And honestly, a lot of the critiques that I had for Harden could also be placed on Iverson. But I truly believe when you go prime for prime, career for career, accolades for accolades, if Harden retired today and you compared his legacy to Iverson's, I'm going with AI. He led his team to a NBA Finals against the Kobe and Shaq Lakers and actually managed to steal Game 1 with its only help being Eric Snow. And I truly believe Iverson had a better prime than Harden. He won an MVP just like Harden did. If Iverson's career didn't have that shaky of an end, and if he had been able to actually win a championship, he would probably be a lot higher. But for the career he had, he's still top 5. Number 4 is Jerry West, who most people consider a point guard, but Jerry actually played the shooting guard a big majority of his career. And he played a lot more like a shoot first 2 guard than a point guard. It is still a little confusing though, because I've heard people call him a point guard and I've heard people call him a shooting guard, but he was only 6'3", so I guess it makes sense for him to play the 1. But for this list, we're considering him a shooting guard. And against every other shooting guard, I've got him at the 4 slot. Jerry West only had 1 championship in his career, but the man made it to 9 different finals. Yes, he was 1-8 in the finals, and 6 of those losses came from Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. It's pretty crazy and kind of funny that he has that bad of a finals record, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he actually led his team to the finals 9 different times. That's more finals appearances than pretty much everybody else on this list. He's also the only NBA player ever to ever win the finals MVP after losing, which is just pretty insane. He had a very legendary career that cannot go unrecognized, and I know he played in a much weaker era than a lot of other players here, but you can't take away everything that he accomplished. At number 3 is Dwayne Wade. D-Wade's farewell tour just a few seasons ago really reminded everybody on how great of a career he had. Playing with the Miami Heat pretty much his entire career and winning a total of 3 championships, and I know he won 2 of them with LeBron, and even though D-Wade was amazing in those series, LeBron was the biggest reason they had won, but D-Wade had one of the most impressive finals runs ever in 2006. In his 3rd NBA season, he led the Heat to a championship. Shaq had just joined the team, which was definitely a help, but it was still clearly Wade's team. He was an amazing scorer and defender and excelled at pretty much everything on the court. The legendary moments and accomplishments he has on his resume puts him at number 3. At number 2 is the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. In my opinion, the greatest Laker of all time and somebody with a career and a legacy hard to compete with. 20 years on one team, 5 championships, a 2-time finals MVP, a multiple-time scoring champion, a MVP, an 18-time All-Star, and the guy that dropped 81 points in 1 game. Kobe Bryant is an absolute legend and easily a top 10 to top 5 NBA player ever. But besides the legacy and the accolades and the accomplishments, as a player, Kobe was nearly flawless. He was unstoppable attacking the rim, and he's always had a great jump shot and been known to hit some of the most difficult shots ever. As a defender, he was ruthless and one of the best defenders as a guard ever, and the distance between him and everybody else on this list is pretty far, but there's still one player that sits at the top. At number 1 is none other than Michael Jordan. You all saw this coming. A player looked at by a lot of people as the greatest to ever do it. 6 championships, undefeated in the finals, and probably the most perfect NBA career you could ever ask for. He was a flawless player and a guy that ruined a lot of other players' legacies in the 90s just because of how dominant he was. It's rare you see a list that Michael Jordan isn't number 1 on, and this one is no exception. But that concludes my list for the top 10 greatest shooting guards of all time. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But that's all I've got for today. Thank you all for watching. And with that being said, I'm out of here, and I'll see you on the next one.